5 ways a woman who believes she is always right destroys her marriage. Many men today are silently hurting in their marriages, not because they are weak and not because they lack love, but because they are living with a woman who believes that correction is an attack and guidance is control. When a woman becomes unteachable, love becomes impossible. When she becomes defensive, connection becomes unreachable. And when her pride becomes louder than truth, peace becomes the first casualty. This is not a message of blame. It is a message of awakening. Because marriages do not die loudly. They die slowly, quietly, one prideful moment at a time. Let's go deeper and see how it happens. Number 1. Her ego destroys her empathy. Some women grow up watching their mothers win every argument. They see dominance, not understanding. They confuse being loud with being strong and being right with being wise. So when they enter marriage, they carry the belief, I cannot be wrong, and I should never be corrected. But a woman who cannot be corrected eventually cannot be loved. Because the moment she stops listening, she stops learning. And when she stops learning, she stops loving. Empathy cannot grow in a heart occupied by ego. She thinks she's showing strength, but what she's actually showing is insecurity. A fear of being wrong, a fear of being vulnerable, and a fear of being seen as human. She calls it independence. But independence without wisdom becomes isolation disguised as strength. A marriage cannot survive without empathy, and pride suffocates empathy until love has no air left. Number 2. To her, every argument is a battle, not a conversation. A healthy marriage needs communication, but a woman who believes she is always right does not communicate. She competes. She listens only to respond, not to understand. She interrupts, she twists your words, and she shouts so loudly that even the truth trembles. And when she wins, she walks away full of pride, not knowing she just lost something more valuable: your respect, your peace, and your emotional safety. A marriage cannot survive a woman who treats her husband like an opponent. Because when she chooses ego over unity, she chooses destruction over direction. And every time she wins the argument, the relationship loses another piece of itself. Number 3. She pushes him into silence. Men rarely complain directly. They endure, they observe, and they wait. But when a man feels unheard for too long, something in him shuts down. At first, he explains. Then he repeats. Then he tolerates. Then he withdraws. And finally, he becomes silent. A man does not go silent because he is weak. He goes silent because he is done. Silence is not calmness. Silence is the sound of a dying connection. No marriage can survive when the man stops talking, because communication is the oxygen that keeps love alive. By the time a man enters silent mode, the relationship is already bleeding quietly, slowly, and almost invisibly. Number 4. She says what she doesn't mean, but the damage remains. A woman who believes she is always right often becomes reckless with her mouth. She speaks in anger, attacks in frustration, and uses her words as weapons, only to later call it emotional expression. But words don't disappear. They don't evaporate after the argument ends. They become scars where love used to live. She will say things she can never take back, things that question his worth, wound his confidence, and stain his heart. Apologies can fix tone, but they cannot erase spoken words. And the truth is this: her pride becomes more important than their peace. A marriage where one person constantly hurts the other with words cannot survive on apologies. It collapses under accumulated pain. Number 5. She blames him for the walls she built. When the marriage begins to crumble, she won't see her own reflection in the ruins. She will say, "You changed." But the truth is simple. He didn't change. He simply stopped fighting for someone who kept fighting against him. She built the walls. She created the distance. She rejected the guidance. She shut her ears. She hardened her heart. And she celebrated every argument she won, not knowing she was losing her marriage piece by piece. A woman who chooses stubbornness over softness, argument over alignment, pride over partnership, will always end up alone, not because she wasn't loved, but because she refused to love the right way. Finally, a woman who believes she is always right does not see her man as intelligent. She sees him as inferior. She does not see guidance as love. She sees it as an attack. She does not practice partnership. She practices domination. And no man can thrive where he is constantly undermined. Men, Choose wisely. A wise woman builds her home with gentleness, humility, and grace. But a proud woman debates hers into dust. Your marriage should not feel like a battlefield. It should feel like a safe home where two imperfect people grow together, not destroy each other. Humility saves marriages. Pride buries them. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insights on love, relationships, and marriage.